Welcome back to Fan Nation. Now the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix is a Pittsburgh tradition.
A 40-year tradition.
And this year's event will be their best one yet.
40 years. Now that's a long time, so let me bring you up to speed.
40 years is an incredible amount of time, and it all started right here in this garage in 1982 when the plans were being made to actually have this race.
The garage was owned by a car racer, Alan Patterson, who along with a small crew of people hatched a plan for a road race.
First race took place in 1983. I believe it was a one-day event, 6 hours. I don't know how many entrants there were, but that was the beginning of it.
Picture it, vintage cars, beating those manufactured before 1959, ripping through the streets of Pittsburgh. It was a sight to behold. MGs, Triumphs, Porsches, Minis, and more, hitting the straights at speeds north of 100 miles per hour. It was a spectacle and caught fire with the people of Pittsburgh instantly. Today,
so you've got 3,000 show cars parked on the golf course, and then you're able to watch the vintage cars race through the streets around you.
There's a speed limit sign that says 35. We're all probably doing like 90 to 100 miles an hour.
It's a car nut's dream. 10 days of racing, events, and the most stunning artwork on wheels you will ever see.
While there are hundreds of vintage races throughout the country, this is the only one that takes place on city streets right in the city of Pittsburgh in Schenley Park.
How awesome is that? Best of all, 100% of the proceeds go to charity.
The most memorable part of the Grand Prix for me happens every year in February, and that's when we take all of the dollars that are collected, donations and sponsorship, and we put it all together and present a check to our 2 charities. To me, that's what it's all about.
It is such a great event with something for everyone. We go every year.
Me too. It is spectacular. So for tickets and information, go to pvgp.com.
The Grand Prix is an event unique to Pittsburgh.
One more differentiator that makes our city so great.
And it was founded in part by one of Pittsburgh's greatest racers who spawned one of Pittsburgh's greatest racing families.
On a back alley somewhere in Pittsburgh sits an unremarkable looking garage. But in fact, within this nondescript building are the artifacts of a life dedicated to car racing and family.
My dad had been driving cars and racing since the 50s.
Alan Patterson was obsessed with cars.
The car behind us and the car that's on the logo for the Vintage Grand Prix were his daily driver, where he would just drive to a race course, unload his girlfriend, the lunch, whatever else was in the car, go race the car, and hope that it was still in one piece so that he could drive home at the end of the day.
And car racing.
My dad was approached by a couple of people who had this idea of putting on a road event in Pittsburgh.
The race was a success, and as the event grew, so did Alan's fervor for it.
He really set the tone for the vibe at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, and that was part of the attraction to being there every year. It was intoxicating. His passion about it.
That passion became contagious, coursing through the family. Soon, Patterson cousins and kids found themselves behind the wheel.
Started when I was 17. I think I was the youngest driver in the Grand Prix when I was 17, driving my dad's Jaguar E-Type.
And then when I got into it, it made him very proud, I think, and so that in itself made the desire to stick with it and go every year.
It's just a joy to have in my life to be able to drive multiple cars every year and be a part of it.
I mean, let's get real, it's racing, it's awesome. Not a lot of people get to say they can do it, so we're very lucky.
And to have grown up with this and to have the luxury of being able to have these cars to be able to drive in our hometown in this event is wonderful.
In total, a member of the Patterson family has driven in every single Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, and this year, there will be 5 Pattersons behind the wheel.
I've kind of had to wait my whole life for this because everyone else got to do it first, so it's like finally my turn.
To be able to be out there on a track with family, it's again some of the greatest moments I had that were with my dad, that I remember with my dad, were actually being out there with him on a track. Again, because of my dad's legacy, and to have grown up with this, and to have the luxury of being able to have these cars to be able to drive in our hometown in this event is wonderful.
Coming up, It was a football Sunday in Pittsburgh, flag football. See who took home the girls' championship trophy.